What's up, YouTube? As promised, I am here with Famous Adore. We are doing a live video talking about the U.S. airman that was fatally shot in Florida. And we kind of wanted to give our opinion and our take on what we thought, happened and, go from there. But you want to introduce yourself?
You know me, Famous Adore, aka Lil Sin. Y'all know me as Lil Sin, but Famous Adore is what I go by. So, for the ones who don't know, that's my name, Famous Adore.
Okay, so you watched the video, correct?
Nah.
Of what happened?
I heard about it.
Okay.
I read about it, but I haven't seen the video.
So the video shows supposedly the U.S. airman. I'm not going to disclose names or anything like that, but he was on a FaceTime with a female, and there was a knock at the door, and he said, "Who is it?" And nobody answered. So he proceeded to keep talking to the female, and there was a louder knock. So he went to his door, which had a peephole, and he looked through the peephole, didn't see anybody. So he went and got his firearm, which he legally owned, and as he was walking from his bedroom through the living room, now there's two different stories, from his bedroom to the living room, the officer supposedly bust in the door and automatically shot 6 times. That's the first story. The second one was that he opened the door and they fatally shot him. So what is your take on both scenarios? The first one with them just busting in the door, and then the one
So that's the first story.
Right. And then the one with him physically opening the door.
Honestly, I want to speak on the first one is when they just busted in the door.
Okay, yeah.
All right. If that was so, they don't know which story was the right story, or they're still.
Well, they're giving two different stories. The one that I heard was that he was making his way from his bedroom to the living room. Now I don't know if that was the female's story or if that was the actual story. So I guess that's where they're doing the investigation at. But either way, do they have a right to just shoot him if he was walking from his bedroom to his living room and they bust in the apartment? Do they have the right to automatically just fire 6 times?
No, I don't think. What I know is that how many times did they knock? Once or twice?
They knocked the first time, which wasn't as loud.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they knocked the second time louder. But they never said in the original story that they announced themselves. But in the story that I just seen with T Electric, that they said sheriffs opened the door. So do you feel that they had the right to just automatically open fire when he opened the door, or when they bust in the door?
I don't think they even if the man didn't wave no firearm. He didn't wave it.
He didn't. He had it on his person though. He did have it, but supposedly he put his hand up and he said, "Whoa, basically you have the wrong apartment. This, it's not me. What's going on?"
So the police are in the wrong only because if he didn't know it was the police at first, if they just busted in the door, right, and he just said, "Well, it could be any," to him in his mind, it could be a home invasion.
Right.
So so he has a right to have his gun in his hand if they're knocking on the door and he can't see nobody outside, because he could be thinking, "Oh,
right,
someone's trying to break in my house."
Right. And that's
they broke in and just shot him.
Yes.
And that's one of the stories.
Because they seen a firearm on him, and right away they were going to a call for a domestic, supposedly. Okay, so regardless, if they got the wrong apartment, they acted the wrong way. They
could have been the situation could have been a lot better.
I mean, they could have handled it a lot better. I mean, to me, if he has his hand up and he doesn't have the firearm aimed at them, then they could have said, just please put the firearm down, whatever, because he wasn't aiming it at them. So he was no threat. He is a law-abiding citizen. He's in the military, and I'm not saying because he's in the military he has any rank, but I'm just saying he's a law-abiding citizen. He wasn't aiming it. He was no threat. So they shouldn't have just acted the way that they did. But do you feel that they're going to get away with that?
Of course. It always happens. Like, I'm not saying don't fight it, but
I believe the family is.
They have a right to fight it. But
right.
Like at the end of the day, then again, they're always right, regardless. They're gonna get away with everything.
Do you believe that the woman should have came forth and said more than what she said? Because the only thing she said is that she was on the FaceTime with him and she just heard somebody knock on the door, and he said, "Who is it?" And nobody said anything. So they proceeded to have their conversation, which I don't know like what relationship they had, but he was on the FaceTime with her, and she said that he did hear a second loud knock, and that's when he went to the peephole and didn't see anything. Now, do you think as the sheriff or a police officer, they should not have hid themselves from the peephole? They should have said something out, right then and there.
Yeah, because that makes it seem a little off if you hide.
Right.
One, if they were knocking on the door, so they obviously either hid to the side. Like if they knocked, they must have hid, and then he looked out. So they say he looked out, right?
They said he looked through the peephole and he didn't see anybody, so they were hiding. So does that tell you it was targeted?
Gotta be, because if I don't know too much of this. I'm just going off of what I heard, like off of what I read. I didn't really see the video.
Right.
But it obviously was like they targeted him or something. Like you just said, they targeted him because if they just broke in and shot him, they knew what they were coming for.
Right. Right. So I don't know if anybody is in the live, if anybody wants to comment their opinions, we will, answer anything. But so do you feel that it's right for the police officer to be on a paid administrative leave? So he's getting paid even if he's not working.
No.
Like I feel in any position, and I don't bash any police officers. I love law enforcement, but what I'm saying is that he should be held accountable for his actions. He should not be paid to just sit at home while the investigation is going on.
And in the situation, to bring the situation back, if you are scared, you shouldn't even want to be a police officer. If you're going to be scared and just act out right away, like if you're going to act out and just take action the moment you see the moment you see somebody and you think you're assuming the worst.
Right.
They're supposedly trained for this. So.
And that's my thing is if you go through the physical and the emotional training that you go through, why did he act out in the way that he did? You know what I mean? Because you can say police officers, they do have it hard because you don't know what a person is going to do. You don't know their actions at all. Okay, so you do have these criminals that do act out, and the police officers have no choice but to act on intuition. You know what I mean? Like you have to just act right away. So if you have somebody that you're pulling, say you pull somebody over.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're walking up to their vehicle, you don't know what they have, regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of anything. You don't know what they have. So yes, of course, you're going to be I'm not going to say strapped. I'm going to say you're going to be ready.
Yeah.
Okay, for anything because you don't know. But you don't want to just act upon it because you think that they're going to have something. So you want to be ready, but then you don't want to overreact.
People service. Solid Trade 57 Productions.
Thank you, Trade 57. So we're trying to get everybody else's opinion on this as well because T Electric did a live yesterday, and this is what made me want to do this video because it needs to get out there more. It needs to get out there, and we need to talk about this more because it's going on too often.
Sheriff deputy, then I have backup, which was shady from the jump.
Okay, well, that's true. That's true. And how do you feel as far as him hiding from the peephole when the gentleman looked out to see who it was? And do you feel that that person was right to go get his firearm? Because to me, like if I hear somebody knocking on my door, one, I'm not going to say, who is it? You know what I mean? Because automatically, okay, if I don't know somebody's coming over, then nobody should be knocking on my door. Which, okay, regardless, I mean, people will knock on your door no matter what, but you should say, hey, it's me, no matter what. So do you feel that that officer was wrong hiding himself from the peephole?
I feel like he was wrong.
Like
to hide yourself, if you're an officer, you gotta let it be known that you're an officer.
Right.
You can't you don't just bust in somebody's door like that.
Right.
And I think that's wrong.
Well, that's why I said there's two stories to it because the one that I seen was the one that he was walking from his bedroom where he had his firearm locked up to his living room, and then the police officer bust in the door. Okay, then the second story was that he actually answered the door, which was a big mistake on his part, yes, because you never answer the door. If somebody's not responding to you when you say, who is it, would you answer the door?
No.
And that's what's going to be brought up. They're going to say, well, hey, Tamika, how are you? That's what's going to be brought up. They're going to say, well, why did you answer the door? And so it's kind of 50-50 because, one story he did answer the door, and then another story he didn't. And I can't see all that. My eyes aren't that good.
I'm grabbing my protection as well. And that's exactly how I feel too.
And that's the thing. He was not in the wrong for doing that. He was not in the wrong.
No, he wasn't.
Regardless of his status.
Wait, the second story he opened the door, right?
Right. But regardless, I would have grabbed my firearm too.
Yeah, I would have grabbed
Especially if somebody's not acknowledging who they are. But in the video that I seen that T Electric did, the video that I seen then was that they supposedly said, sheriff's office, open up.
Yeah, because if I ask, who is it, so many times and there's no response, I'm going to get my protection.
Right. I appreciate you guys coming in live, but it's kind of like, it's a crazy story because there's so much stuff getting thrown around. There's so many stories going on with it to where you kind of have to wonder, you kind of have to go over all the scenarios. Okay, regardless whether he didn't answer the door and they bust in, whether he answered the door and he was shot, or whatever, he still legally, he was able to own a firearm and he was no threat. So to me, he should get the justice that he needs. Well, his family should. To me. I mean, I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I honestly think they should too, because it's like, even though there's two sides of the story, so we'll never know. We'll never get the right answer.
Right.
So no matter what, they're going to cover up everything.
Right.
And if there's no justice, the dude goes home free. And you know how that goes.
Right. And that's just how it is, like with any situation. I don't want to steer away from just what we were talking about, but that just it's like that with any situation. And like the Leon Ford situation. Okay, he was pulled over, and he was approached. The police officers approached his car. Now, how do you feel about like that situation? Like, do you feel that he shouldn't have pulled off, or do you feel that he had a right because he was threatened?
I feel like anybody is gonna pull off. Nobody wants to get shot, and nobody wants to go through that. So honestly,
Right.
it's human. It's part of you're human. So nobody wants to get hurt. So you're gonna pull off in reaction.
All right, you want to read that?
First of all, the only time a sheriff should come to your door is if he hollers, sheriff's department, we have a warrant. And he never announced sheriff's department, we have a warrant.
Well, and that's the thing. Drake 57, listen, he, in T Electric's video, the video showed that he did announce it. But the original one, he never announced anything. Like, it was him by himself, and he never announced that he was the sheriff. He just knocked. He knocked twice. Once was a little bit lower, just a regular knock, okay, which could mean anything. And then the second one was a loud, like a knock, like a bang. And then that's when he went to go get his firearm because he was like, okay, who is this coming to my door? And it's only right. Any normal law-abiding citizen would automatically go for their firearm because they don't know who it is.
Because they're unaware of who it is. It was just a knock.
Right.
And they didn't say who it was. So
right.
He got a right to go for his firearm.
And to be honest, nowadays, and I don't know if it is like that everywhere else, but nowadays, people are impersonating police officers.
Oh.
So
that sheriff only comes to their house for a warrant and domestic call.
Right. So why wasn't it a regular police officer? If it was a domestic, why was the sheriff's there? The sheriffs come for big warrants. So why was a sheriff going to a regular domestic call? Good point. Good point.
That's why it's deeper than.
And I don't know if that's like that, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's like that in different states to where they do have sheriffs that do that, because I'm not familiar with like the Florida laws, but that is kind of a good point. That really is a good point, because a regular police officer would just go to a domestic call. You wouldn't have a sheriff unless like you had a real warrant and the sheriffs would come get you. A regular police officer would just go to a regular call.
Did someone call them on him or something?
They got a call for
maybe
domestic.
The sheriff showed up probably because of what somebody said on the phone to the police.
Well, they got a call for domestic. They got a domestic call. That was it. So I don't know, like.
No, all sheriff deputies are the same.
Okay, so then right away they should have said, like, why is the sheriff's coming to this call if it's just a regular domestic? Like, he didn't have a warrant. He was in the military, so he didn't have a warrant for nothing. And you can mistake, if you live in an apartment, you can mistake.
So it was an apartment?
It was an apartment, like, kind of but here's the thing, it was an off-base apartment complex. So
someone called them and said.
So someone must have called and said there's domestic.
They didn't say. Did they tell them where it was coming from?
They could have said the wrong apartment. They could have said it sounds like it's coming from apartment 17 and realized it's not. It's 19 or it's 20 or 15. You can't really, if you're an apartment, you can't really know where something's coming from unless you're physically outside the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anybody could have called and anybody could have said, this is where it's coming from. And they could have been mistaken. And that's where they should come forward and they should say, well, I was mistaken. I thought it was coming from this place. Or maybe that person was racist.
How do you pronounce the dude's name?
Whatever.
because I said his name. It's like, oh,
here, let me see.
because
I don't want to.
Airman.
Yeah, I don't want to get his name right, and I didn't want to.
That Airman was a target, and the deputy was sent there to complete that on the assassination.
He was. Let me see.
That's the purpose of multiple shots in Airman's body.
And that's why I said, like, I don't understand, like, 6 shots. Like, if you are coming in the apartment, why does it take 6 shots to put him down? All you need to do is take 1 or 2 shots if you need to put him down.
That's the purpose of their taser too.
But the thing is that he wasn't a threat. He wasn't aiming the weapon at them. He literally had his weapon to his side and put his hand up and said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like basically, like you got the wrong apartment.
That's why this was way more than just a domestic call.
And y'all want to see. This is what it is right here. All right, so I don't know if I even want to give his name. It says a Florida sheriff publicly released body cam footage from a deputy who fatally shot a black airman in his home and disputed claims from the victim's family that the deputy had gone to the wrong apartment. So, I mean, I get it. It happens. You do get the wrong apartment. It happens, but you didn't have to shoot first.
Honestly, I think he didn't get the wrong apartment. He got the apartment. He just wanted to go to that apartment because, then again, assassination. Because you should know. You're a sheriff.
Yes.
You should know better than.
Right.
You're trained for that.
Right. As well as all police officers are trained. So, to me, if he doesn't get.
That's exactly what I just said. It was the right apartment. The new apartment they knew what apartment they wanted to go to.
If he doesn't get the justice that he needs, karma will come around. Like it always does. It always does. It's unfortunate that this young gentleman, which he was 23, had to lose his life to put that out there. And it's not going to stop because it's going to keep happening. It's going to, it's not going to stop. It really isn't.
Multiple shots was to ensure a target. Oh, yeah. Just make sure a target dies.
And that's the thing. Like, it wasn't 1 or 2 or 3. Multiple. It wasn't 4 or 5.
Wait, they say it was a total of 6?
It was 6. And in the video, it was just pow, 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 pow. Like, they made sure that they were putting down the target. It wasn't to stop. It was to eliminate. It was to completely put him down. And that's what was bad. Like, I don't know. Like, it irritates me every time I see the video because it could have gone so much differently. It could have gone so much better. But, I've always heard the saying, everything happens for a reason. But he didn't have to go out like that. He didn't have to end. He didn't have to have his life end the way it did. And it's unfortunate. So I don't, what else do you have to say about the whole thing?
I was reading the comment.
It literally, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just, it's bad.
We all know that this situation wasn't just a regular domestic call. It was assassination. That's honestly how I feel about it. Like, that tells you a lot just by saying that.
Right. So you feel in most situations, do you feel that, like, phone calls that they get with domestic or anything like that, do you feel that they are targeted, that they are, like, meant to eliminate people?
Everything happens for a reason. Not saying it's not good that it happened, but everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So honestly, no, it's sad. It is sad because it didn't have to go like that. But you can't stop something from happening if it's meant to happen.
Right.
So they knew what they were doing when they came there. It was one, right? One sheriff.
Yes.
So he had no backup.
No backup. He had no backup. And that's the thing is if you're going to a domestic call, like normally, and I'm not like police force or anything like that, but normally you would have some kind of backup.
Yeah, it's like they usually have
because
backup.
it's domestic, so they think domestic, they think, okay, somebody is there, somebody's violent, so they need backup. But this person, this officer, which I'm not going to name names, but this officer had no backup, none whatsoever. So to me, that was shady right there. Because when you are a police officer, and it's not even just for that case, it was with the Trayvon Martin, with the gentleman that called the police. He was told not to approach him. He was told not to get out of his car. He was told not to do anything until the police arrived, and he did. He got out and he physically shot Trayvon Martin. Okay? So there's been multiple instances, and I don't want to elaborate on a lot of them, but there's been instances of police officers that went they went against what they were told, and they approached the person without proper backup, and then things happen. So, like to me, I think as the police officer, they need to be trained better. They need to focus on how to handle situations without overreacting. And then I think I think that it would, I don't know. You think it would lessen? Like,
honestly, I don't know because all police officers have a job to do.
Well, yeah.
And that's and
to us, we know that. We know that. But
you
to
know,
everybody else out there, they
right,
don't know that. They don't know.
whether you know it or not, but the officer's side of the story is already planned out.
Yeah, yeah. That's just
For sure,
like,
that's why I have a job to do.
that's just like with the George Floyd situation, and um, the female officer that broke into the one gentleman's apartment and got the wrong. She thought he was breaking in her apartment, or she thought he was in her apartment, and she ended up killing him, and she got off on it. Like to me, like I don't know. I think everything is planned. I think everything is happening.
That's why I really don't acknowledge stuff like that because, like, I know.
Right.
It's. I'm trying to. What's that word? We already know everything's planned out, right? So we already know there's way more stories than what they tell us of what goes on. So I don't really acknowledge half of that
And
stuff
we will never know.
because we'll never get the right answer anyway. So like, there's no point in asking.
Nope. But yeah, so that's the reason why we came on here, is because we wanted to kind of give our opinions on what went on, and kind of touch on the subject because it just went sideways.
Like I don't know too much about the situation. Like I'm just hearing about like the full,
Right.
well, two sides of the stories that was told to me just now.
Right. And it just kind of I don't know. It just, so I'm going to hold on. I'm going to let him watch the video.
Can you put that on here?
Well, I'm going to let you watch it.
All right.
And then I'm going to let him touch on what he thinks. Because it's just Alright, so this is the ad right now. Hold on.
TNT Life.
Around 4:29.
Stop.
It's not letting you play it.
No, they don't want me playing it.
Oh, see? Alright, hold on. So TNT, you're just coming on here now. I want to get your take on what you think. I don't know if you've seen what went on, but I want to get your take on what you think happened and what you think should have happened. Like, this is crazy. They literally don't want you to watch it.
I might go look it up.
Right here. Let's see if I can go back on it. Don't know the story. Okay, look it up. There will be more. Yeah, I know, but there's always going to be more. There's always going to be more.
It worked?
No, I was just showing you.
I got the video.
With the, you got the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to watch the video. I'm not going to put it on the screen because
it's too graphic.
It's too graphic and it's not for this, but okay. You don't know the story. Okay, so what happened, TNT, listen. So what happened is the airman was on a FaceTime with a woman. And he was off base in his apartment. And the police officer supposedly knocked on the door. And the gentleman said, "Who is it?" And nobody said anything. So I guess it was, seconds or whatever later that the officer banged on the door louder.
I see that he did say his sheriff's office.
Well, the officer banged on the door louder, and I guess the gentleman went over to the door. He was hiding from the people, the police officer. He was hiding from the people, and right away the airman thought that, it was something shady going on, so he went to go get his firearm. He was coming back through the living room, and there's two sides of the story. So he was coming back through the living room, and the police officer bust through the door and automatically shot him 6 times because he's seen a firearm in his hand. The second story was that he went to the door, opened the door up, and had the firearm on his side, but he had his hand up saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," like, I don't know if he said, "You got the wrong apartment," or, whatever. And then he was shot 6 times. So there is different stories because in the video, you do hear him saying, "Sheriff's office, open the door." So I don't know really what the real story is, because even if he did say sheriff's office, open the door, was he hiding on the side of it? Because clearly in the video, you could see him hiding on the side of the door. He wasn't in plain sight. And you know that nowadays people are impersonating police officers, mailmen, cable people, like anything. So he did still have a right to answer the door the way that he did, but should they have automatically just shot him?
But the deputy had to the side of the door.
No?
But the deputy had to the side of the door.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, should he have, did he still have the right to have that firearm when he answered the door? If he did answer the door and they didn't bust in, did he have the right to still have that firearm in his hand, not knowing if that could have been
because there's cases
somebody else?
There's cases where people dressed up as a police officer.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and the people that don't know, like about the police and all that, can tell. People that don't know, about police officers, they don't really know to tell if it's like a real cop with like a real badge and all that.
Right.
So if they don't know nothing about that and they just dress up, that's why you can't just open the door anyway.
Right. And that's been a lot of cases to where people were acting as say police officers, cable men, cable men trying to get into people's houses, and just any Duquesne light people, and gas people and things like that. Like, there is people that impersonate and they get away with it because us as customers of the light companies and the gas companies, we don't pay it no mind. Like, well, I do, but we don't pay it no mind as people to know, okay, something's not right. If I don't call you to my house, I'm not answering the door. So all these people going around door to door trying to knock on people's doors and things like that, I don't answer my door. You can stand there for hours if you want to. I'm not answering my door. And a lot of people fall victim to that.
If I didn't get a text and say you were coming over, I'm not going to open the door.
And a lot of people fall victim to that. Like, they don't think. They see Duquesne Light, or they see gas companies, and they see Comcast and Verizon and whoever else it may be, and I know, yeah, they're okay, open a door, and then they're a victim. So it's way bigger than what people think it is.
That's why I say it's a lot of stories behind what they saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the story that I heard was that he was walking from his bedroom to his living room, and they busted in the door. And then I seen the video that T Electric did, that he did live last night with St. the Realist, and they showed him answering the door. So I really don't.
Okay, so when I seen the police seen a gun and didn't give him a chance to shoot first. He said, if you don't open the door, fine, but don't open the door with a gun in the floor cop.
Right. I mean, yes, to a point, but do you still blame that man for, which, granted, he shouldn't have answered the door. If that was the story, he shouldn't have answered the door. But do you blame him for coming to the door with a firearm, not knowing if that really is a police officer?
Yeah,
because a lot of police officers, a lot of people personally.
No, he's right, but I'm saying at the same time, it's like, say he did open the door and he didn't have his firearm, right?
Right.
Then what if there was somebody like pretending to be a cop,
right.
and then they shot him,
right?
And he didn't have his firearm,
right?
So he's right too about don't just open the door with a gun.
Well, that's why I said, like, it's kind of both sides, because one, you shouldn't have opened the door, but then two, you have the right. That's your apartment. You can open the door, but he was armed, which he had a right to be. But it kind of like it's just, I don't know.
He said no about opening the door with a gun. Florida man is crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
he should have said loudly, "I'm calling the police, and I will open the door when they come." That's another thing too. Yeah, well, he should have just called the police. But that's
the thing is that they said, supposedly, sheriff's office opened the door. So what if he didn't open the door?
The video shows the dude opening the door.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's two videos, because the video that I've seen, he didn't open the door. Yeah. They said that he was walking to the door, and that's when they bust in.
Sheriff's office, open the door.
See, and look, he put his arm up right there. He put his arm up. So
but I would have never moved.
To me, if he's not a threat,
police aren't going to give you a chance to draw first.
But he never even got a chance. He didn't even.
Then the cop could be dead instead.
But he didn't even try to draw. He put his arm up. As soon as the police officer opened the door, he went like this. So he was saying, I'm not a threat.
I would have never moved, though.
I'm not a threat.
That's one thing. When the cops usually tell you don't move.
What? Okay. But
I'm not saying.
But to me, as a female, if I'm in a house by myself and I hear that at my door, one, I'm not going to answer my door. But if, say, they would bust in, okay, I'm still going to be ready. But that's not going to deter them from shooting me.
No,
still,
I said he should call 911. He said he should have called 911 and asked if he could have the police units come so I can know that there's a real deputy outside.
Okay, well, that's true. Him as a military background, he should have. He should have handled it a lot better with the knowledge that he had. He should have. And I'm not saying that, that he deserved to get what he got, because he didn't, but he should have handled it a lot different, especially with his background. Because me as a law-abiding citizen, I'm not going to just go to my door and open it up just because a police officer said, open the door. I'm going to say, okay, no, I'm not going to open my door, but I'm going to call the police officer. I'm going to call the police and make sure that this is legit. You know what I mean? Because you never know now. You never know. So, I don't know. I think his life could have been saved if he handled it a lot different. A lot different. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. And, condolences to his family and everything like that, because it's not easy losing a family member at all, regardless of who you are. But I don't know. I don't even know what else to say.
TNT, you're right. Police officers won't let you shoot first.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What else you think? Anything else you could think of? Like, it's.
But not really, because it's like, I only know two sides of the story. It's like, I already said how I felt about it.
I mean, like, in general. Like, not even just pertaining to just this.
Oh.
But in general. Like, do you feel that police officers use certain things to their advantage? Or do they play by the book? And I'm not bashing police. I love police.
No, they gotta do what they're told. That's why I said that was assassination. They were told to go there and handle that situation how they handled it.
Now, how do you think the military is going to handle that?
The what?
The military. Because he's a U.S. Airman for the Navy or Marines or whatever he is. Do you feel that they are going to step in?
Nah, I feel like
and
they all
pursue and get the justice that they need, or do you feel that they could have been part of it?
That's why I said they all together. They all know what.
Right.
And the first deputy did not respond to shots fired call. Teddy said, "What would you have done if you were the cop and the guy opened the door with a gun?"
To me,
I look at it like this too. You don't know what the cop, like I said, if you just take action right away and you don't need to be caught for scared.
I mean, to me, like, if I was a police officer and I was in that situation and I answered the door, and if they answered the door and they did have a firearm, I would have had my firearm drawn, but I wouldn't have just shot. To me, that's me personally. I couldn't have just opened fire.
That is a good question though, because it's like I can't really say until I'm in that situation.
Right. I mean, you can't until you're in the situation.
So
but
it's like,
to me, I would say that I couldn't do that because you don't know. Like, that person, he had his hand up.
He says you did.
So he wasn't a threat. Like, he wasn't aiming his firearm and holding his hand up. He had his firearm to his side. So he wasn't technically a threat.
But at the same time,
he would have raised the firearm.
But if he did tell him it was a sheriff, he wouldn't open the door with the gun. But even though it's like you said, people do pretend to be police officers nowadays, but I wouldn't even open the door.
I mean, to me, I wouldn't open.
Like, I would have called the police and made sure they actually did, like Trevor Production said. He said he should have called the police.
Yeah, But to me, like if I literally was in that situation and I did open the door, like well, they opened the door and I was the police officer, I wouldn't have just shot. Unless they went to raise their firearm, then
But then again,
I would have fired off a shot.
I understand both.
I wouldn't have just shot.
I
6
understand
times.
both because if it was the situation they say it is, if the cop, in the cop's mind, he could be thinking, oh, he might lift up and shoot me first.
I can't see that. Answering,
I got it. Entering the door with a gun, and you said police. Why have the gun brandishing?
Well, yes.
That's true.
But, like I said, how did he really know that was the police? Because nowadays, hearing things on the news, people are impersonating police officers, and he might have thought, okay, well, why would they come here? Like, not saying that he's on a pedestal, but he's of military. He's looked at in a like, like he's looked at better because he's military. So why would the police come to my door? So maybe he was thinking, okay, like, what if this was somebody else? What if this was somebody impersonating? I don't know. But going back, he should have never opened the door. That's my thing. But him brandishing his gun, by all means, you have a right. You are a law-abiding citizen. You are allowed to have your weapon if you feel threatened. And at that time, he might have felt threatened. He didn't know that was police.
But if it's like that, it's like you, even if it was an intruder, I wouldn't open the door because you're basically welcoming them in your door. Well, so if you open the door for him, you gave him an opportunity to get in your house.
You're right.
So he should have just called the police.
But there is some people that don't think about that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
There is people that think, okay, well, maybe it's just,
I would never just
maybe it's just the wrong apartment, but I'm gonna be safe anyway. And
even if you have a firearm, don't just let him in.
No,
So that I feel like if that was the case, that was the wrong move to open the door. Because if it wasn't a police officer, you let him in. You basically let him in. You gave him the opportunity.
Yeah, brandishing is a magic word. Yeah, but the thing is that it's just I don't know. I don't even know what this. I don't want to keep repeating it because it's just. It could have been handled so much differently, but it's a cycle. It is what it is. Like it happens, and it's not going to stop. It's going to keep happening, so I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's like it's too much to talk about with that.
That's why I said, like, I don't want to keep, like, repeating and, you know what I mean? It's in general, as a whole, not only do police officers have to do better, but people have to do better. Like, if you are a legal gun owner and you are in your house alone, and it goes for men, women, whoever, common sense would tell you not to answer your door. Okay, if you hear somebody knocking and nobody says who they are, if you don't know somebody's coming over, don't answer it. If they announce, police, open the door, you have no recollection of anybody calling the police or just anything, you don't go to the door. Especially with your firearm, you don't go to the door. That's just asking to get shot. Now you can and you are allowed to say, I'm going to call the police to make sure everything is okay. You're allowed to do that. You're not banned from calling the police if you suspect that somebody's coming to your door and they're saying, oh, I'm a police officer, open your door. you're allowed to be, how do you say it? You're allowed to be like worried. You're allowed to say, I'm going to call the police to make sure that this is legit. And they would want you to do that. They would want you to make sure that you're safe. Well, I would hope that they would want you to make sure that you're safe. But sometimes it don't happen that way. Sometimes it just happens the way it happens. So, I see you yawning.
Huh? No, I ain't tired.
I see you yawning. But yeah, so I don't know.
You should have said through the door. Officer, what's your business here?
Yeah. I mean, he could have, yes. He could have. But the only thing that bothered me is that the police officer hiding from the people. That's the only thing. As a police officer, you don't do that. You don't hide unless you have an agenda. Okay?
There is sometimes like because some people will shoot through the door.
Well, I mean, regardless of your side, if you're hiding on the side of the people, you still can get shot.
No, I'm saying I understand that you don't hide. Obviously, if you're an officer, you still. It's like it goes both ways, really.
Right, but I mean, he still should have not I don't know.
Yeah, he said then he would have found out the officer got the wrong house.
Right, or he could have said through the door, are you looking for somebody specific? Who are you looking for? And if they would have said it, like, no, officer, it is not me. You got the wrong apartment. You could handle things through the door.
Well, some people could lie and say, oh, this is the wrong house.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you could, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
That's why I said it's deeper than what they're saying. So
that's why I said there's so many stories to it. So, was it true that he didn't answer the door and they bust in? Was it true that he did answer the door and he was shot?
Well, there's two videos, right?
Well, no, one was just a story.
No, there's one video the dude opened the door.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One was just a story that he.
Oh, all right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they
so
bust
one was
in.
that was a story. Now they see the video.
Right, and now the body cam footage was released that he physically answered the door and he was shot. As soon as he answered the door, he was shot.
On the video, you can't really hear the dude.
But that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're going by.
The only thing you can hear is the officers, the sheriff saying, "Sheriff."
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're going off the woman that was on the FaceTime with him. They're going off her story from the first one.
She probably thought he kicked the door in the way she heard the shots. That's probably what she heard.
Because she said, I heard the knock at the door, and I heard him, whatever his name is, I heard him say, who is it? And nobody said anything.
He probably said it low, though.
He could have. And then she said that she heard louder, a louder sound. And then that's whenever she said that he went to his bedroom to get the firearm, and when he was walking from his bedroom to the living room, that's when they bust in the door. So there was no physical proof of that. The body cam footage was the proof.
Yeah.
And as a police officer, you have to release that body cam footage, but they're gonna still, in some way, they're gonna get them because he hid. And and of course the police officers say, well, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if he would have shot through the door, so that's why I hid.
Because there's most cases where they do that.
Right, and it's clearly, it's clear that he said sheriff's office. So, I don't know, I'm hoping,
like you said, they some people pretend to be.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that there is justice in some way, but the police officer wasn't 100% wrong to protect themselves as well. Did he get the wrong apartment? we'll never know. I mean, like, he could have,
Injustice isn't really gonna do anything.
well, I'm saying he could have been arguing with somebody on the phone, this lady, and somebody heard it and thought that he was arguing physically with somebody and had somebody called there. So we don't know.
But like, even if
Like-
they get justice, it's like that's not gonna do. That's not gonna change
No.
the fact that he lost his life. So he
No.
lost his life, and justice is really not gonna do anything. If they lock him up, like it's really not gonna get none out of that.
No.
But
It's up to them. I have to use the restroom.
so there's really a lot. There's really a lot of things you can say about that situation. So honestly, we just want everybody else's opinion too. You mean everybody get their own opinions on how they feel about the situation. Like I said, I don't know too much about it, but I'm just now here. I heard about it, but I'm just now actually like learning the actual situation, and I just seen the body cam footage, so I don't really be knowing too much about that. But if y'all know anything, y'all can let me know. A couple things that y'all know. The body is going to be tampered with. Senseless but unavailable. Unavoidable. I sound unavailable. Oh, the body cams can be tampered with. That's true. They definitely do be tampering with them body cams. And that's in most cases, though. They always do tampering with them body cams. Sometimes they cut out what was said in certain parts. That's why if you watch the footages of like the body cams, you be seeing like the video skip.
All right, y'all. So, yeah. But yeah, we appreciate you guys coming in the live and hanging out with us and giving y'all opinion. There's 4 people in the live. I'd appreciate if you guys give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys comment. Let me know what you guys think. I've seen Trey 57 Productions and TNT Life.
He said they also take out certain clips of the footage. That's
Well,
exactly what I
they
said.
do, of course. They can edit everything.
That's why I say you be seeing like certain footage of the body cam cut to another scene.
Yep. So, my overall opinion, before we close this out, my overall opinion is I think that the gentleman does deserve some kind of justice because he clearly wasn't a threat, but he could have, with his status, he could have handled it a lot different because as a law-abiding citizen, that I have no military like background at all, but you could have handled it a lot differently. Tamika.
Shout out to Tamika.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you to Trey 57 Productions. Thank you to TNT Life for joining in the live. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for your honest opinions. I think this is something that a lot of people will be talking about, in the near future. And
So why did he answer with a gun?
well, yeah. I mean, he answered with a gun because he's a law-abiding citizen, but
Problem.
to me, I don't know. I can just keep saying he has the right to, but if the video is correct that the police officer did say sheriff's office, he just shouldn't have answered it. He should have just called and verified that the police were there and they were legit the sheriff's office. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Don't open the door with a gun. Just keep the gun, but don't open it. Just call 911.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I don't know. I appreciate you guys for coming into the live. Where are we at?
Gun. I
59
seen you
minutes.
say gun.
59 minutes.
It's the auto correct.
It's crazy. It's just, it's a shame that he had to lose his life over this, but lesson learned. For all of you women and men out there, if you ever have somebody come to your door, banging on your door, you don't see who they are, you have the right as a citizen, you have the right to call the police and make sure that it is legit. You have the right. And I'm hoping that the police would encourage you to do that. You know, not too many would just say, yes, we encourage you, but I was hoping that they would encourage people to do it. So, you know, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. You are allowed to call the police. You are allowed to make sure that it is legit. Because, you know, mistakes do happen. You know, people get the wrong place. It happens. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Famous Adore for stopping in on the live and giving his opinion. Everybody go subscribe to his channel. You have any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, like she said, thanks to all y'all that come here and showing support and giving y'all opinions. Tamika, Jefferson Productions, and TNT Life. Shout out to y'all.
Yes.
And everybody that was in the live.
Yeah.
Because there's 5 people.
I see currently 5 people. So if you guys can, before we jump out of here, if you guys can.
Take care, everyone.
If you guys
Thank you for stopping by.
Make sure you guys hit the like button. And we will see you guys hopefully in the next video. Hopefully it's on a more positive note, but
then again, I will do a video on this situation.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
Because
stay tuned for Famous Adore, his video on the situation. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys. I hope everybody enjoys their day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, my YouTube family, and everybody else. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video.